everyone to the Breachers VRML Top 4 EU interview series. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's, and I am joined here by Acer EU. From left to right, we have Mr. Tabs, Hickman, Makamo, Gooblin, Rise, Brazil, and Stickosaurus, all joining me this afternoon for an interview. And Gooblin, your squad's coming off of a solid victory from last weekend in that top 8 single elimination bracket up against Nexus. You know, how does it feel now to be going in the semifinals? You have you're going up against Ragnarok. Is that who you expected to be battling this weekend?
No, Rise, I'll let you answer this one.
Yeah, well, so it was, to be honest, we thought their game would be a lot closer, but I think Cheeky Breachy are missing a few key players, which is a shame, but, you know, it happens. It's happened in previous seasons. But in preparation, because we thought it would be either Ragnarok or Cheeky Breachy, we've been working on the strats that we've used across the whole season, and we've been just trying to perfect them as best as possible, because they worked against them once. They'll surely work again in the semis, so, you know, that's what we've been working on.
Is there anything that you think you guys need to improve on going into the next round? And, you know, how do you work on that in your practices?
So I think there's a lot we need to improve on. First of all, our communication's detrimental to our performance. I'm a substitute, I can't say that much. But I've seen it firsthand, and we need to improve it, guys. Come on. That's a bio, fellas. That's what I'm talking about.
Rise, you said you're doing some match review and stuff. Do you have scrims scheduled this week as well, or are you guys taking it easy leading into this weekend?
Well, we're definitely taking it easy. I mean, we haven't had any scrims since Saturday, but we're definitely looking to, you know, there's other leagues that we're in, so we're going to play those games before the weekend, and then maybe get the odd scrim or two as we head in. But to be honest, we're really confident with what we've made. We've had a look over some different maps that we haven't played as much, so I guess we have consolidated our strats on that. But apart from that, we're feeling fine. We're feeling very confident.
And I guess we could either go down the list or just get a few opinions. You know, who do you think you're going to be if you advance on to the finals on Sunday? If you defeat Ragnarok, who do you think you'll be going up against, IVI or Immortality, in those finals?
I would say definitely Ivy, probably. I just think they're the better team in my opinion. I feel like they're more prepared than most other teams. They do a lot more strats and things like that, I would say.
And Rise, are you doing anything to prepare for the finals as well? Are you looking that far ahead right now, or are you just focused on the matchup on Saturday?
We definitely have high hopes for finals, but it's really important, like I said in the previous interview, you don't get too overconfident, because I keep saying this to the guys, anything can happen. So we're definitely just taking it semi-finals first, and then again, we'll be happy with second place, but obviously we'll aim to, I guess, increase the word I'm looking for is like the pressure that we put on in the semis, hopefully for Sunday as well.
Awesome. I think that's really all I have for you guys this afternoon. We've already asked most of the questions we had for you last weekend, and again, congratulations on advancing through this weekend. Good luck on your semis and finals matches. The best of luck to you. Any final shout-outs before we go? Anything I don't have to cut out?
Okay,
no, I think that's it. Thank you.
Get back on the wall.
No, I think that's it. I think that's definitely it. I think you
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for the interview, Acer.
Definitely don't let them stop.
My headset died.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Breachers VRML. I'm your host, Gibular Bob, and today we have Immortality, or Eternity EU, and while they are one of our semi-finalists. So today with me, I've got Zav, I've got Niall, but we do just have a couple of very quick questions for you. So starting off, how does it feel to move on to the semi-finals? You went up against Formula 3 EU. There was a couple of close moments, so how does it feel to kind of make it past that hurdle?
Yeah, I mean, we were expecting to get to this point. Obviously, F3 probably gave us more of a challenge than we thought, but no, obviously, what can you say? It's great to be a semi-finalist, you know what I mean? Playing in the big screens, you know, it's fun. It's fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
Any
I'm
thoughts?
actually very happy to make it to semis. As last season, I got knocked out by this op, and it was very close. I believe it was like 6-6, 6-6, 7 something. So it was very close. But I'm happy that we're in semis. We predicted we'd get to semis anyway. It's just we're hoping now to get to grands, and if we can, then it'll be a major achievement for us in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, grand finals going to be coming up the day after semifinals. So, will there be a well, I guess before I ask that, is there anything you think you need to improve on before the semifinals?
I think my main thing for the team is discipline. So we're trying to get that kind of discipline into the games. So trying to
Right.
slow down, make sure we're not like playing like control point basically. But yeah, that's the only thing. I think if we get that down, chill out, like the teamwork actually plays a team, chill.
Absolutely, Niall.
Yeah,
anything to add
basically,
there?
literally the same thing. We need to stop being so indecisive at what we do sometimes, and just stick to one thing. And then if that don't work, then we move on and play as a team, because we haven't really been doing that. And for me personally, I need to stop being indecisive as well with what headset I'm gonna play on, because I keep switching, and it's annoying, bro. I keep switching from Quest to CV, and it's actually so bad, bro.
Well, hopefully you can. Hopefully, there's just one headset to use for
And
the
hopefully
semifinals.
Hopefully in finals, my gun doesn't shoot to the other side of the map like it has before. horrendous tracking, bro.
So, how are you going to prepare for the semifinals? I guess we've talked about working on that discipline, but maybe after the semifinals, say you get through. How are you going to prepare for those finals? I mean, that's going to be the day after, so you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare. You're going to take it easy. How are you going to work on your team's performance?
I mean, as you said, after the semifinals, it's going to be we're just going to have to chill. The hype, obviously, for winning semifinals is going to be great. The two opponents on the other side of the bracket, Ragnarok and Ace here, both in our league records, we've come very close and beaten Ragnarok, and then we've haven't beaten Azir. So obviously I think that day it would just be taking a break, maybe running a few maps to try and find some sneaky stuff, which is what we've been doing already, so wait for that on the stream. But yeah, just find us a few tricks up our sleeves that we can find within a day's notice. But
Are you more worried? Let me ask you this. Niall. Are you more worried about IV, or are you more worried about Acer U or Ragnarok?
I'm more worried about IV than any of those teams.
Really?
Right,
Interesting.
and let me tell you why. So Ragnarok, really, they have some really good players that can stand out, right? They're not unbeatable. They're a beatable team.
Right.
We've done it in scrims. We became close in our first VRML match. We beat them in BCL, and we beat them again in VRML. Did we beat them in VRML again, Zev? Or did we not play them again?
I think no, when we played VRML, it was 6-6 something.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then I feel like Acer, that you can learn them, play them, blah blah blah. You scrim them quite a bit. But with Ivy, they're unpredictable. They can either play one way or another, or just mumble jumbled around, and they're just a team that is very hard to predict sometimes. And you never know.
All right, awesome. Well, of course, we do thank Zavdislav and Niall for giving us the opportunity to interview them, and you can catch their match coming up this Saturday against IV EU, the EU team. And then after that, they may have the potential to move on to the finals. But for now, that is going to do it for us over here at the Breachers VRML. I'm Gibular Bob. This has been Niall and Zav with Immortality. We'll catch you all in the next interview. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.
Welcome everybody, and thank you, Gibular Bob. Whoa, we've got some issues here. We'll fix these. for joining us here and for that interview. I'm not sure why I'm so gray today, but something with the camera filter. At least I'm on camera. It's better than not, like yesterday. But anyway, today we are here for an exciting matchup between the #1 EU team and the #3 EU team in the region, battling it out for third place at the end of the day. Acer EU getting knocked out of contention for the grand finals, which is the match that we played up later today. And for those tuning in and don't know what's going on, my name is Nightfire with 2 E's, and I appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out, and tuning in for today's third place matchup, which is where we start. And how we got here is 11 weeks of regular season gameplay, several weekends of postseason action where we had a single elimination tournament go on over multiple weekends, and just yesterday, these two teams lost to now be playing out for third place. I say single elimination, but obviously we need a third, a second, and a first at the end of the tournament. So we're playing out this third place series here between Acer and Immortality this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to it. Acer EU really getting upset the other day in their matchup. A lot of folks anticipating Acer to advance on and be that #1 EU team to play in the finals, but I mean, it was an amazing series. And I'm blanking on who. Not blanking, I have it right here. Going up against when they went up against Ragnarok. Ragnarok ending up defeating Acer EU by rounds, because I believe they tied a map and then each won a map, and so the rounds is what determined the winner. An incredibly close series. We almost had a series in NA determined by rounds, but was nearly avoided with a 7-5 map win. And I don't know that it's going to happen again today. I'd be certainly super surprised if we saw again the rounds determining our winner this afternoon. And I mean, quite frankly, I actually don't know who's going to come out on third for this series. When we look at Acer and we look at Immortality, I tend to lean Acer just because as an org, they tend to impress me a lot, and they started super strong in yesterday's series with a 6-0 opener. If they can keep momentum going after a 6-0 opener again today, then I do think we have a good chance of seeing them put on a pretty dominant performance, as we've seen them do throughout the course of the entire season, undefeated up until just yesterday. And, well, Acer NA did advance on, so they at least are keeping the Acer name moving forward in through the finals. But it does look like we have everyone in lobby, and despite my ready up, they're ready. So we are going to be diving in to the action for map #1. And I don't know that they are ready, considering Immortality doesn't have everyone in the lobby yet, but I certainly would be surprised if they start. Oh, no, excuse me. Nelson is not a real bot? Or are they a bot? Yeah. Interesting. I think we're going into the game 4v5. Is my assumption. Immortality not able to supply a 5th this afternoon, and it is going to take us to Factory. Yeah, it's interesting to note that, in this season, we do have, I believe, no prize pool going to third place. And so I think in a lot of cases, we were anticipating not even needing to play out this third place series, because at the end of the day, the thing you are fighting for essentially is your final rank, I suppose, in the season. You'd like to be locked in with Season 2 as third place. And so that's what they are competing for here today, is so that at the end of Season 2, Acer, you can say we qualified at third place, and we finished Season 2 at third place. That's the idea. Prize pool is distributed, though, to first and second across both regions and for all of our games that we are supporting. Vale, X8, Breachers, Pavlov, all of them being supported at the first and second level this season. I think last season we did have something for third, but the prize pools have been shifted with an increase in cash and an adjustment to that North American VRML conflict. But into the action we go, as Acer EU are down to 3. Immortality, despite an opening bot player, not being impacted too hard on their push in. Sam Smith barrels around the corner. Rise finds one, looking for more. Mad scoops up that frag. Makimo swinging out, and now it's Makimo and Vino. Mad into a 1v1. To the point, the real energy that's going to be brought today is going to be brought in the next series when we dive into Ragnarok and IV. Full health. Makimo tucks in. I'm just taking a look at chat as we do get into this pause, seeing how folks are enjoying the action. I see Volley, Joshy, Jedi, Shampoo, Dylan, Fennec, Talker, Awful, One, and Acer Makimo winning the round, going up 1-0. The 5-4 not being squandered there, but nearly. They almost lost their pistol round, down a player, and I think it's going to be down a player the entirety of this series for Immortality. With that in mind, I do think I tend to continue to lean, obviously, into the Acer's favor here for the series. Let's see if I can fix my ghoulish cam. Here we go. I'll figure out my camera later. We'll worry about the action in front of us for now. Alright, well, I won't look ghoulish anymore, so that's good. Not so good for Immortality, though, as Brother Carmel is all that's left on their entry down. And I apologize for missing action there on that round, but I had a heck of a tech difficulty start. As you may have noticed with the website going down as well earlier this morning, but I think everything is sorted now, so I should be able to focus for the rest of the series. And I apologize for the late pre-show and everything at the end of the day, but I believe we're all sorted now, so we can focus in on the Acer action. My attention is now 100% here on to the series as they go up 2-0 out the gate. And like I said, I think this could be a fast one. With how Acer's playing, with where Immortality's at right now, I think they don't have their heads in the game for this third place series. And again, it's because of what I explained. There's not a prize pool on the line other than your... I think you might get something on the website, and you might get a Discord color for third. I'm not 100% sure on that, but little things to fight for at the end of the day. But why not finish off the season strong, you know? Better third than fourth if you're going to go into the next season recruiting at any capacity. And I imagine that Acer EU are coming into this with probably a similar mindset of we want to lock in that fourth place. Well, excuse me, the third place, rather. We do not want to be fourth at the end of our season. We want to have the reputation of at least getting third. The undefeated team that gets fourth would be even worse, I think, at this point. So, you know, it's really kind of fighting for your team's record at the end of the day here this afternoon. And oh my gosh, the strangest double vault across a window I think I've ever seen. Ends in a 1-for-1, and I think it was a bot and Vino that both crossed there, so that's the only reason it happened. Nonetheless, Gooblin picks things up, gets it back into their favor for defense, and ooh, a nice nade out. Might catch Matt on the side there, and it does. A beautiful nade out the window, and it leaves Sam and brother Carmel alone. See what Carmel does over here. Horus in hand, looking to connect some headshots, cannot find any. Down goes brother Carmel, and it's Sam Smith alone. On the outside, looking to pick up some aggressive rotations from the Acer squad as Gooblin goes down. And really, this is just a warm-up for, again, the grand finals later today. Just after this series, we'll be jumping into the big one. That's going to determine who's going to come away with $1,900 in cash at first place. A sizable prize pool that has been increased because of the support from our sponsors, Triangle Factory and ProTube in particular, contributing into that cash prize pool. And so we really do appreciate them coming in and supporting us again for Season 2 and at a bigger level than before. So hats off to them. Hats off to Triangle Factory. We really do appreciate their support. But for now, we still play out that third place series. And, you know, I think we had votes on this too. It's interesting to note, you know, as we see here, another disconnect coming in from Acer. Hopefully they'll get that reconnect in time. But even if we have two bots, I'm pretty sure teams voted to play the third place match. Like we asked, we said, you know, we asked, we don't have to do third. If you get eliminated, you can be eliminated. Your seasonal seeding would determine where you finish the season, you know. But I'm pretty sure everyone voted on wanting to do this third place series. What they really wanted it is the question, though, is some unfortunate team skills come in there. Tabs picks up a couple, and I don't feel the same level of intensity I was feeling in this series yesterday from this team. And obviously, both of these squads defeated after not making it through to the finals and through to the cash. So another nade from Makamo, and yeah, Immortality not having a good time on their offensive set here. Nice little pickup there. Does even the odds just a touch. I think we saw this play from Immortality on this room with a breaching foam on B site yesterday. And it actually got pretty close to working for them, but it was on an eco round from them, not a partial buy, which is where we're at here. Well, they've got everyone tucked into the back side of B. It's time to rotate over to A. Very minimal coverage coming in from Immortality here. Oh, and down goes Carmel, leaving Matt alone. In a 1v4 with a Viper in hand. And, you know, I say, well, you know, there's not a lot to compete for, but it is, for all intents and purposes, these players' favorite game. So at the very least, they're having a good time playing a hyper-competitive series, which they certainly can get through matchmaking, but probably more so with VRML at the end of the day. Acer now back to 5, have reconnected on their bot issue, and up to 4 on the scoreboard, up 4-0. A strong opener, to say the least, as Immortality again. Having a tough time with this one. The 4v5, not ideal. Curious to see the NA third place series, which is going to be played after the EU Grand Finals. Not immediately after, but starting at 2 p.m. PST. And that'll be interesting because those teams really, if you consider it, you know, even more so than EU side, defeated. You know, they've lost. They're out of the first-second prize pool, and they lost their trip and their potential trip to VRML. They were one series away from winning it. In some cases, one game away from winning it. Yeah, I wonder what they're going to bring to the table, you know, on a Sunday. But like I said, it's these players' favorite game. So I think that at the end of the day, they are just playing to have a good time. And I don't think we're seeing necessarily as coordinated and focused strats because they are playing a little bit more casual on you know, in this series. But still, they're here. They're playing, and Gooblin's finding some good picks. Sav opening up that door blocker and is going to charge in onto the back end here. Could have an opportunity to flank and catch Mr. Tabs, but no. A beautiful peek out there. Scoops up the kill. Nice headshot on to Zav, and Immortality's down to 3. Carmel with the Taurus in hand, still looking to connect with some headshots. Meanwhile, Sam at A, not looking to push in. And I think what we are seeing, if anything, is a bit more of a coordinated attempt from Acer. Obviously, with 5 alive, you have more options. But I do feel that they are here a little bit more to play this afternoon. Still having a good time, and a nice pull nade there. Bounces up and catches a kill. With Sam Smith again alone. One for Sam. One v4 is still in front of him, though. And down goes Sam Smith. Acer up 5-0 on their opening map. And a strong opener, to say the least. Pushing closer and closer to a map 1 7-0, which is what, quite frankly, I was imagining in my mind coming in from this Acer team. And, well, then it'll be one more map to go before they lock in third place. I see some comments in chat, some incorrect ones at that, unfortunately. People not aware of what the prize pool actually is, even after we've announced it multiple times, but that's okay. $1,900 in cash coming in from multiple sponsors, including Triangle Factory and ProTube to first place, as well as a lifetime subscription to Helga for the manager of the first and second place teams for North America and EU. Helga has and is sponsoring Season 1 and 2, and we've been promoting them as sponsors for Season 1 and 2 all season long. And we really do appreciate their support. And the only unfortunate element is that HyperX is not able to support EU for multitudes of reasons, but right now they just aren't able, for our end, they just aren't able to sponsor the EU region and sponsorship. And so we're incredibly happy that they are able to support North America, and we would have loved to do a EU VRML Con presence. We would have loved to have a World Finals, but financially it is substantially more to fly out EU teams. And so for our first event ever with all of these games, we're going to stick to a bit of a more affordable North American LAN event, considering that we are based in North America. It makes sense, especially for us as an organization, because we would have to fly out most of our staff to EU if we did do a Europe Finals. So I understand the concern from folks about there not being an EU Grand Finals, but it is simply not in the cards in this current form. And maybe if the success of this North American Finals is anything, then we will have a World Finals in the future. I would absolutely love to include EU in VRML Con. We did it last year for Ultimex and Blaston, but that's a significantly less you're only flying out 2 players instead of 5 to 16, 5 to 6 players, actually technically 10 to 12 players. And so again, it's all logistics, and we don't often explain this stuff. But it does bother me when people are incorrect about just how much is going in to both regions, to EU and NA. VRML cares an incredible amount about every region, and we would love to support EU as much as we support NA if it were actually possible, but it's simply not. On top of that, if we're actually to go off support based on player numbers, NA has more players currently than EU. And so prizes are actually pretty evenly distributed across both regions based on player size, in my opinion, as well. And so, we really do support EU substantially at the end of the day. And, I appreciate the folks that do understand that as we do get into the action here for the back half of Map 1. I don't have to swap teams because everything is working. As Immortality go on the defense and try and lock in a point this afternoon on this map. Yeah, and well, this is where Immortality are at. They're going outside. They're pushing in on the attack here as EMP gets planted onto the site in a crazy play that actually nets them multiple kills on the pistol round on this back end flank. Goblin scooping up one. Sam Smith and Mad now trying to get something on the board here into the 1v2 as Mad is super close right on the other side. A nade from Rise bounced around the corner and doesn't tag Mad. Down goes Mad, a Map 1 victory for the Acer EU squad, 7-0 out the gate. And, well, as expected, Acer delivering to the brand name at the very least, the undefeated squad in Season 1, the #1 team in the region, 7-0ing their opponent out the gate on Map 1. At this pace, I anticipate that we either may have a forfeit from Immortality or another very fast Map 2 coming up for us this afternoon. But regardless, I appreciate the teams jumping in and playing. And like I said, we voted on this, so this is what the teams wanted. We didn't have to do third. We could have jumped right into the finals today. But, the VRML operates on a community basis, so we always make sure that we get what the community wants. And folks wanted to play their third-place series. So I will do my best to cast what is a 5v4 at the end of the day. But, yeah. We have what we have. I appreciate everyone stopping in, though, and tuning in, enjoying the action regardless. Impatiently waiting at the end of the day for the big series and basically a map away here. IV and Ragnarok duking it out for first and second place. Prize pool on the line there. Very much looking forward to that this afternoon. That's going to be an incredible series. Both teams, amazing fights to get to those grand finals. And so, the EU finals is going to be a spectacular back and forth that I am very much looking forward to. But obviously third place, a little bit slower pace this afternoon. I mean, if you want a good series, just go back and watch the semifinals yesterday. It was an amazing battle between Acer EU and Ragnarok, and an amazing battle between Immortality and IV. Really, really fun and like heart-pounding, heart-stopping, quite frankly, EU action yesterday. North American semis were stellar as well with the VRML Con finals on the line. It was spectacular to watch. So both streams yesterday were amazing. And so it's, plenty of other series to tune into if you do want to patiently wait for this one to wrap up and for us to dive back in to the grand finals in what will be a few minutes' time at this pace. But regardless, I do appreciate you all stopping in, hanging out, and tuning in for probably another map, maybe two, if Immortality can scrap together a fifth and put up a good contest against Acer here. Otherwise, we will be diving into our second map shortly, and so do please patiently wait around. And another reminder that we are sponsored by several folks here this afternoon. Triangle Factory coming in and supporting the VRML, ProTube VR as well, HyperX, and Helga, the esports bot manager, all coming in and supporting VRML in our operations from season to season, providing prizes to our players, and ultimately making a free league have a little bit extra on the line there. You know, I think at the end of the day, it's pretty impressive. It's not common that you get to play in something like this for free, and so I do appreciate the folks that do understand and appreciate that as well. And we do our best to give out prizes at the end of the day. And so again, I think this year is just incredibly exciting with the cash on the line. And this grand finals matchup is going to be a lot of fun to tune into. I think these two teams are going to be bringing us strategies maybe we haven't even seen before. Yeah, it's again a stellar. I forgot where I was going anyway. I was distracted reading chat. People were responding to my rant about prize pool. I've seen some funny comments though. EU's budget is the Toblerone. All right. I do appreciate the support. I know you guys know I try. A little rant there though. Regardless, I mean, hey, what else are we going to talk about? It's not Acer here playing competitively, and well, I wonder if we're going to do a 4v4. I don't know what's going on, but we are down to 4 on Acer's side, and oh, interesting. I'm looking at, I mean, I guess to the point of what folks are saying in chat, I'm looking at NA third place. I don't even think we're going to have it later today. I think Fusion has just forfeited third place. So we will not have an NA third place cast. So, look, I think this season we certainly could look at, for the future season, we could look at expanding down to third place for that cash prize pool. So these third place matches matter more, or we could not play them and continue to have that kind of enhanced first, second place prize pool. But yeah, I do think there's merit, of course, to the argument that we should have a third place prize pool. I think the reason we did it this way, I don't want to get too excited, but there were some reasons why we went first and second instead of first and second. Again, I appreciate the feedback. So it's good feedback. We'll take it in like we always do at the VRML, and we'll process. We'll probably ask in the feedback form, which I expect to see 250 responses to at the end of the season. What did you like about VRML? Do you want to see third place prizing? Would it matter what that is? How much do you think it needs? We could ask those questions and get your feedback. So that's probably what we'll end up doing. And maybe next season, for season 3, we'll have third place. Maybe for next season, we'll get EU out at the finals. And yeah, we're definitely not playing this one too seriously, as Acer and Immortality are waving to each other out the windows. There's not a whole lot of competitive concern this afternoon in the series. And like I said, they're at least enjoying themselves playing their favorite game. Look at this pistol set. Gooblin catches Carmel in the head. Zav finding a couple of big headshots and a nice spin from Gooblin with another connection. A double kill on the Taurus. Looking for 3 as Sam pops up, and Gooblin just missing over the shoulder. Looking for another. Can't read peak. Can't find the head. Sam still stays alive, and Gooblin at a slice of HP. Vulnerable to that Spectral. Connecting and finishing off the job. Where is Sam rotating to with a minute left? Up to the B side, finally getting up to the objective floor. pick up there onto Sam, and Acer open up with a 1-0 on the pistol set. 6 rounds away from taking us into the Grand Final Series, and I'm seeing in the EU Grand Finals chat right now, the IV and Ragnarok squads are like, okay, well, I guess I better start warming up. They understand that that final series is just around the corner. But I do appreciate all the support in chat as well. There's a lot of very encouraging, positive comments, and folks are saying, giving me, don't give Nightfire grief. He's just a caster. Well, I am the co-founder, so if there was somebody to complain to the top, it might be me. But yeah, at the end of the day, we do our best. So I do appreciate the comments and the feedback, and we'll all take it in, for the VRML. But I'll stay focused. I'll stay focused on this 5v3 now. Oh boy, Immortality's lost another. Matt at least reconnects. Okay, back to 4. We got Canuts in play here. Goulin with a double on the Canut. Celebrating with some clapping and happy that they are very likely to advance on as that 3rd place EU team. Finish up their Season 2 strong. Well, as strong as they can. I'm sure they would have obviously liked to be playing in the matchup coming up, the Grand Finals. But it's all right. They get 3rd, at the very least. Well, are very likely to get 3rd. I don't see Immortality taking things back at this point. And we're very much, I see folks saying in chat, just tuning into basically a public lobby at this point, at this stage, with these two teams just enjoying themselves, enjoying their final match together in Season 2. I see Gibular Bob right now actually looking for confirmation that we're not going to have a 3rd place match today for NA. So maybe it's not confirmed all the way yet, but if that is, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we will have a 3rd place stream later today. With Canuts up, we got Immortality barreling forward. A few Canuts on Acer, and it's going to be the Battle of Canuts soon enough. What timing from that? How did Makimo time that? There's no way they just randomly tossed 2 immolation nades that perfectly block off the double hatch drop. That was good. That was a good play. I don't know if that was completely random as far as I could tell. He literally took both grenades and just went, yay, and threw them in the sky. And they landed under hatch and one. I mean, come on. Maybe it was intentional. I don't know. Maybe it looks so casual. And maybe the bot can clutch a round up here for Immortality. I see some folks in chat. At least the next match could be interesting. Absolutely. IV Ragnarok competing for $1,900 in cash, $850 for second. They are definitely going to be coming in and putting their best foot forward every round. You want to come away with 1st place in your region for sure. And that series is going to be spectacular. And what is now just a few rounds away from us getting to it. So, see Retalker saying, I think all the donations should go to Gibular Bob. Yeah, I mean, hey. What about Martini? Martini's done 20-something casts this season, too. Don't we love Martini? Where's the Martini love, guys? That's what I want to know. Let's see. Casters. Yeah, Martini did almost 10 casts this season. Bob did 20, though. I did 25. But Martini's got almost the same amount of the same total as Bob. 38 total casts. Bob's got 46. I have 92. If we're doing the math. Which we are. Mad goes down, and well, the clown show continues, I suppose. Makimo scoops up Zav. Immortality continued to strut around ship, looking for action here and there, but not finding much of it in their favor. And oh, Sam Smith scooping up Makimo. Oh, 3v3. Acer got to worry about dropping around here potentially. Goblin has the Knut in hand. As Madden Rise now. Might duke it out soon. Oh, Mad goes down to a quick peekaboo from Goblin on the corner. And it leaves Sam, the only real person in lobby. Tabs didn't see Sam somehow. And Sam finds the kill. I think they were looking for maybe one more bot, but it's still Sam alive and well. Double static emitter is going to slow him down, though, or at least give away their position if they do rotate over to A side. And we just patiently wait for this series to end, essentially. Just waiting for Acer to lock in third. Yeah, I do think we aren't going to have a third place NA, so the last series of today will be the EU Grand Finals, and I suppose that's probably the best way to send off Season 2, to be honest. Outside of course, VRML in July, the EU Grand Finals are going to be spectacular. As Goblin gets rid of the last real player, it's going to come up to the bots to run all the way back to site. Oh, no. Oh, no. The EMP is over a ledge that the bot simply does not know how to vault. It's too much of a challenge. So the bot is off, not picking up the EMP and going for kills with 20 seconds left. Oh, poor Jorn. Poor Jorgen. Jorgen. There it is. I wonder if all the bots are names of developers. We should look into that, because Jorgen is obviously one of them. Fun facts, folks, that we're diving into now. Easter eggs that we're only discovering in the third place match for Season 2 EU. I think I might have Bob joining me for the finals, so look forward to everyone's favorite caster, apparently, joining the EU cast. I don't know, I'm just chopped liver at the end of the day to the Bob fans, the Bobites, the Gibularites. What do we call Bob fans? Chat, give me some ideas. I think Gibularites is pretty good, quite frankly. There is some Martini love. I see it in chat. It's deserved. It's needed. Here's the real deep cut. Where's the filibus love, you know? Where's that love at? Tell me that. Vino going crazy with their kinematics. There is Sam Knuts the head off of Mr. Tabs. Vino tries to vault out the window. He cannot Sam in the head to no success. Everyone else goes down, and it leaves Matt alone. In a 1v2, Acer. Ship isn't really a fast map at the end of the day, I guess. But we are certainly taking our time for this final map. I do find it impressive that some people still find a way to complain about the little things, but someone said it says EU Grand Finals. Yeah, that's how we label things. We've always labeled it this way. We do the third place match first, and then we do the Grand Finals. If anything, the third place match, a artifact of the way it has been done in VRML for 6 years, because that's how long we've been around. 6 years of operating VR esports leagues for free for people to play. It's, I don't know, something we may reevaluate in the future, but maybe offer a subscription, a premium subscription, something like that. Gets you some extra knickknacks in the website or something like that. But yeah, it's how we've done things for the last 6 years, and you know, this is, I think, the first time we haven't done third place prizing across our leagues. So trying something new, going first and second. We have our reasons internally as well, but don't need to dive into those. Regardless, though, feedback is appreciated, like I've been saying today, and just looking forward to this Grand Final series coming up. $1,900 in cash for first place. You want to talk about a prize pool? There it is. That is going to be worth competing for at the end of the day. Hundreds of dollars to each player. Absolutely worth locking in and focusing up for later, just in a few rounds from now, to be honest. Unfortunately, Zaz double flashes and sells. Rise will be the champion over the Canuts, and Sam Smith, the only real person left for Immortality. And Sam asking for the challenge. Their position here for a bit of a fight, and they'll go down one more round, and we move on to the yet Grand Final series that we've been talking about. The Grand Finals for NA is not later today, as you may have expected. It is instead, obviously, at VRML Con, which is in Denver, Colorado, July 20th and 21st. It's an interesting dynamic in that both of these teams will have some time to prepare to play against their opponent. And so I really am interested in what they're going to be bringing to the stage environment. When it comes time for them to be on that stage, playing their Grand Finals out, how is their performance going to be on headsets they're maybe not familiar with, on Quest 3s, you know, I am very curious to see how that goes. I'm not sure what Acer's got going on over here. A vaulting competition? Who can vault the best? Chat? You tell me what's happening here. A vault chain? A vault off? Oh, that is some mean bait from Mad. And if Immortality win this round, I think we're just going to be done. I quite frankly, I don't think we're going to keep watching this. We'll just be done and move on to the EU Grand Finals. Most certainly not watching 7 more rounds of this, so. Unfortunately, Sam takes out the main shooter for Immortality this round. And we'll see how Mr. Tabs and Vino can do here. Down they go. Find one. Sam alone on site. And Sam surrenders to their fate. EMP planted. And yeah, we are done. We're not watching that anymore. Thank you all for patiently waiting for us to get to the grand finals, which is where we are headed now for this series between the top teams. We're going to go to a brief break while we technically get ready. I set up the lobby and get everything sorted on my side, but I do appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out, and bearing with us through that third place series. Finals for EU coming up in a few minutes. You're not going to want to miss this. It's Ragnarok versus IV for that first and second place prize pool. Don't go anywhere. Welcome, everybody. It's Season 2 EU Grand Finals. My name's Nightfire with 2 E's. I'm joined by my co-caster, Gibular Bob, for a incredibly hype series today, Bob. It's IVEU versus Ragnarok.
I mean, this is just about the best that you can get. I'm so excited. I've been watching this EU season for every single week, those 11 weeks, contacting them, interviewing them to write those articles, and I've just been watching as it's all unfolded. And I mean, we had two fantastic matchups yesterday. We saw Acer EU get kicked out in the semifinals. They just played Immortality in the third place match, but what an upset it was. And I think it really showed that Ragnarok came here to play. They really improved as a team. IV, they've been dominant this entire season, but this is where the two forces collide, and we're going to find out. Is IV going to win? Is the team that, really stood tall the entire season? They only lost twice, once due to a technical forfeit because I think they couldn't get enough players. But I mean, is that team going to win, or is it going to be Ragnarok? I would say probably the underdogs going into this battle that, have had a bit of a rockier season. They took some losses, but they came back every single time, stayed together as a team, and here they are. They just beat the number 1 seed, but can they beat IV?
Yeah, and it's the last match they played against each other, 20-13 in favor of IV. IV arguably has better win percentages on almost every map. I think actually every map they have a higher win percentage than Ragnarok does. They are arguably the underdogs, Bob. I think, or not arguably, they are. Simply put, off the stats, the underdogs from Ragnarok on Ragnarok's side this afternoon. Also, technically ranked 4th versus ranked 2, so again, slightly lower on the rank, but overall still, to be ranked 4th, you're up there. You're in the top 5, you're competing with squads like Acer EU, and I think that what we're going to get today is a stellar back and forth, quite frankly. I don't really know how this is going to shape out, and I do think it's either going to be close or IV are going to come out and perform to the stats. They're going to perform to their rank, and they are going to outperform Ragnarok. But that didn't happen yesterday, Bob.
No, and I think, I mean, Ragnarok, they're a team that really builds off of that momentum, and they really start to snowball very quickly. I mean, we saw that against Acer EU. They got locked out first half of Factory. They came back and denied, 10, 11 points in a row before Acer EU scored even one again. So they are formidable, and I really don't think it's going to be a sweep in favor of IV. They went against Immortality yesterday. They had some tough rounds on Skyscraper, brought it back, map number 2, but hey, I mean, I think anything goes. These two teams prove that they are the top of the EU, region here, and they're both in the money. I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I think it's really going to come down to a very close battle to determine our first and second place teams today.
We've got both squads almost all ready to go in lobby. We'll let them know that we're ready when they are, as IV are getting their 5th in. We should be starting shortly, and I don't think, Bob, we're going to be going into any 4v5s this afternoon. If we did, I would be certainly pretty surprised, because comparably, second place gets 850, but first gets more than double that in cash at 1,900. So there is a good bit of money to be competing for here today. Over $1,000 at the end of the day is going to be the difference between first and second place. And so you want to come in with your best foot forward. And it's a best of 3, not a best of 5, nothing crazy on format. So, we could be done here in 2 maps if one of these teams has anything to say about it. And like I said, IV, I feel like might be the team that is capable of doing that. If we get a tie 6-6, then of course, how this all works out is that it's based off of then rounds. And so essentially we have to play a map and then some to determine who our winner is. If that first map is a tie 6-6, or if there is ever a tie at any point in this best of 3, then the rounds at the end of the day is what determines our winner. And there's only a finite amount of rounds, and so there's some math that we can do to determine what numbers are needed by what teams to get a win. And I do think we're swapping sides here now as both teams do get into lobby. Hopefully not doing another lobby reset. And we should be diving into the first round soon enough. Bob, where do you think we're headed for map 1? I do believe it is IV's map pick.
Well, if I could get the matchup data here, let me take a look. Use my expert casting knowledge here to predict where we might go. We're not going ship. I don't think that's going to make an appearance here. Hideout is definitely going to make an appearance. That's Ragnarok's best map. They're the most comfortable there. Factory, I'd wager, is going to make an appearance. Both teams seem to like to play on Factory. So if I had to make a choice, if we do go to 3 maps today, I'm going to say the original 3: Hideout, Skyscraper, Factory. Probably not in that particular order. If it's an IV pick first, I think we're going to see Factory. And then maybe Ragnarok will retaliate with Hideout. Ragnarok gets to ban a map. So if I'm Ragnarok, I'm probably gonna ban Ship or Arctic. Probably Arctic is what they banned. That's their worst performing map. 45%, 42 rounds there. It's just not the best stat. So we're probably going to see Arctic banned, either that or Ship. But either way, I think it's going to be Factory first.
Okay. The Factory call out coming in here. It's certainly again, tried and true pick, a map that's been around since launch, since inception of the game, quite frankly. And it's something I think that, again, we're going to you expect in this postseason. The comfort picks are where we tend to go. I think the stuff that surprises us is when we do go to Ship, like we did with Acer. For both EU and NA, we went to Ship in there, and they hadn't played Ship all season. So I'm not sure how that I guess I am sure that we're going to go to more of the comfort options versus going for these kind of newer maps, I suppose. But newer is relevant, right? I mean, newer is they've been around.
Sure,
Like Arctic's been around for 3 months now, so like how new is it really? You know, like both of these teams have experience playing on it. They're not strangers to any map that's going to get picked at this point. They're top in their region. They're in the grand finals, and it's, well, an exciting time to tune in and enjoy some Breachers action, to say the least. We missed a little huddle there. I'm not sure what both Ragnarok and IV were doing, but a little bit of a huddle in the pre-lobby to get themselves ready. But hopefully we have teams squared away soon. We're now down to 4 on both sides. So I don't know what's happening, Bob. But
like, I mean, this out of every single match that you play in Breachers, this is the one where you need to have 5 people.
I don't get it. It's not a surprise. There's no surprises to these teams, right? When you join the VRML, we post the calendar, and you know that grand finals is this weekend, 3 months before you get to this weekend. If you're a number 1 team, if you're a number 5 team, if you're in the top 5, I would think you would start to go like, oh, hey, when are the, like, you know, what happens if we do go to postseason? You know, like, how much time do I need? What's going on? I would assume you'd be prepared for the prize, for the opportunity to compete for cash on the line. But somehow it always.
Breachers players are people of mystery sometimes. So.
We need to build. That's why you need Helga. Okay, that's why Helga's a great sponsor.
Exactly.
It helps you with your scheduling. It helps make sure you're on time for your games, that your team knows when they're gonna happen. It helps with pings, all of that, which is why we love them as a sponsor. It
just so happens that you know, if you win the season 2 championship, the first place is going to get that Helga the Manager lifetime subscription, and the second place is also going to get that lifetime subscription too. And you know, those premium features, those are good. Those are going to help you get here on time with all 5 of your players.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man. Well, we're waiting to the point, if you wonder why we're vamping at this point and chatting, because we are waiting for a 5th from IV. There's rules that we have, there's time limits that are in place to some degree. We don't have a strict time limit today, Bob, because we don't have an NA thing to go to after this. And obviously, 3rd place went pretty fast. So there's not like a rush, but there are rules, and I think after like 15 minutes after set start time, you're supposed to have your whole team. And so I don't know if we'll ever start into a 4v5. I imagine that because we're waiting, there is the anticipation that a 5th will join soon, and then we will be going into a 5v5. Otherwise, I think we've already told them we're ready to go, so they would start if they were ready to start. But I think to the point we're going to wait and hopefully have 5v5. I mean, we talked about this though, Bob, even with Acer NA, who was competing for free flights to the convention. They weren't sure if they were going to have their whole roster either this weekend. You know, it's hard. To the point, it's hard. It's a chat. It's gonna be difficult to organize a team, and we understand. I get it. Okay, I used to play in season 1 of Onward, and now we're in 16. So you know, way back when we started, it's not easy. I used to be a guild manager in World of Warcraft. I know what it's like to have to manage a team, okay, and schedules. It's not easy. So I get when it can be hard to get a full team, but it's, you know, I never had cash on the line when I was doing raids. Okay, I would have been a little more punctual, I think, if that was the case. But you know, regardless.
You would have gone to each of your members' houses and personally ordered them to get on their computer.
Get on. I need you in raid. Why are you farming? I mean, to the point, that's why these teams have schedules too. They're dedicated. They're doing scrims, practices. You know, I remember Acer said they had 4 scrims the week leading up to the grand finals. So, you know, it's there's dedication that is coming in at the end of the day because they like the game. It's for the love of the game too. You know, on top of obviously a little bit of a cash prize pool, it's because you love the game. And hey, I guess, you know, skin ain't too shabby to compete for too. Exclusive season 2. Finalist skin recolored for season 2, definitely something to go for. And all of these teams that have been playing this weekend and last weekend have already earned that because it's given to the top 8 squads. I think, Bob, if we're to talk about anything, let's talk about this as a theory, right? What if we put this out to the world? I'm curious what chat would think too. We cut it's not a possibility. So not even my tinfoil hat's on. We cut all the cash out of the prize pool, and we just do in-game cosmetics, like maybe like like more than one skin, or like, you know, what do you think? What would people prefer? Chad, I'm curious what you think too. In-game cosmetics, like maybe 2 skins, maybe just maybe the finalist skin exclusively, like, or in my mind also what I'd really like to see is a skin tailored to the finalist team's branding, which would then encourage teams to have more solidified branding and rosters, and I think that would be really cool too. Like they kind of do with League of Legends. I'd love to see something like that. But just if we were to spitball some theories around, I'm just curious what chat would be interested in. Bob, what do you think? What do you think people would prefer, the cash or cosmetics?
If I'm gonna be honest, if I was in first place, I'd probably forfeit it all so that my Breaches character could wear a sailor hat.
Yeah, as captain, we don't need the 19. We don't need all of that cash. Just get us sailor hats. Just get my team sailor hats. That's all we need.
Exactly.
We've vamped long enough, though. Enough theory crafting, Bob, about what could be. As we do finally have a map to dive into and rosters ready for our Season 2 EU Grand Finals. It's Ragnarok versus IVI, and we are headed to Hideout to kick things off. I think Bob said Factory, so already off to some rough predictions on the caster's desk. I don't think we made predictions on who's going to win yet, though. So I'll go first. I do think that we are going to see Ragnarok be the underdog yet again, Bob. I think they're going to surprise us here. They've beat number 1, so who's to say they can't beat number 2?
Well, if Ragnarok want to win this, I'd say they're going to have to take Hideout with them. I mean, this is their best performing map. They're comfortable here. I've seen them play very, very well on Hideout before, so this is it. I mean, this is going to be big for them. So we'll see if they can find some early success here against IV, because this is important. You don't want IV to build up too much momentum on you, because they're going to quickly run away with it. And I think a good start for Ragnarok would be winning that round 1, so that they can prevent the IV quad round 2 Vezin buy. But in any case, we're seeing entry into Wine Cellar from IV, Fuse and Beaver looking to go in. Itriz and Karamu already heading deep into Arcade, and it looks like it is going to be a push on to side A.
Here comes the swing and a nice lean hold here. Look at how tucked in Mark is. They know the threat. They know if they peek out any farther that they're going to be vulnerable to the angle from Itriz. And neither player sees each other in this hold right now. It is crazy how close they are. And until the shots were taken, finally Itriz tosses a nade. It goes back to the back corner, catches damage onto Casey, and Mark goes down to a nice swing, trying to tuck in and avoid the nade, but both fortunately only one goes down. But a nice hold here from IV. I like this Itriz. Bit of an aggressive push out here to deny any rotations. Scottish Ripper, though, man, they have been good this weekend with the Taurus, haven't they?
Yeah, Scottish Ripper, definitely one of the best EU tourist players. They're an absolute monster with it. Karamu, however, finding Blame Famis. Ragnarok are getting picked apart one by one here. Itriz finds Casey, shuts off the flank, and IV have good control over this Scottish Ripper going down to Karamu. And it's now just down to TJ Clark, the last hope here for Ragnarok in round 1. And Fuse finds that kill to give us a 1-0 in favor of IV. So, my prediction with IV, we're going to see as many Vezins as they can buy round 2. They're going to buy them. Yep. I'm seeing 2.
Yeah, it's standard. Standard. All right, that's a huge opener for IV. 5 alive on offense on Ida. I mean, it doesn't get much stronger than that, Bob. For you to kick off your grand final series. Impressive, but I'm taking a look at chat now because we're going back in time, Bob, because we have the delay, and I'm getting people's feedback on if they want money or skins, and I'm seeing a lot of money, skin, some skin, cosmetics, skin, to be honest, money. I want cases. Okay, we don't have cases. A signed Nightfire VRML t-shirt. Well, you can get that if you go to VRML Con this year. I'll sign any shirt you want to bring to me. And you can just buy your ticket or enter into the giveaway that we're doing right now on social media and get a chance at a free VRMLCon ticket. Your choice, but it's all out. It's out there right now. Just head on over to the social media for VRML and you will find that Hype Breaks giveaway. We'll also put some links in chat. We're diving into the action, though, Bob. I've diverted along enough. We got to get back in because IV are going to be pushing fast and hard with 3 Vezins in hand.
Shout out to Ronan, the only person in chat who really appreciated my sailor hat idea. In any case, we see Mark downstairs here, triple Vezin buy from Ivy. This is going to be deadly for Ragnarok if they can't find some early picks. Drone moving into family room balcony. That spotted Mark. It's going to force them to rotate back. Karamu and Beaver moving up. I think Beaver catches a bit of damage from the Vezin of Karamu. And Blam Blam fam looking to make that Taurus work as Beaver pushing up to the Site A wall. They've got that EMP, and I imagine we're going to see them push in and try and get that EMP planted on the chair as quickly as possible. 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock. TJ Clark picking up some damage, but also finds a bit onto Itriz. Frag toss in the back of Site A. Karamu with an S-tier frag onto Casey. Here comes one in response. That's going to find TJ Clark at will. Beaver with an S-tier frag of their own, but Mark comes back for revenge and almost finds Fuse. But still, IV walking out of that, the victors of that exchange. Scottish Ripper looking to make that spectral work, but Karamu finds that kill, and it's now just down to Blam Blam fam in a 1 versus 5 ace clutch situation.
IV are playing so strong on offense right now. This is a dominant performance with 5 alive again. Not a single kill yet has come through on Ragnarok's side, Bob. Finally, Blam Blam finds the first kill of the day for Ragnarok and the only kill so far in 2 rounds coming in from this team, because that was 5 alive in round 1 and 4 alive here in round 2. And now we go to the rifle round, so, you know, maybe they can get their footing back underneath them, because we have seen teams struggle in the early 1-2s, but that certainly is not how you want to open things up. And I think, yeah, they can only get 4 rifles still. Even the... Can I get 5? No, 4. They're swapping over to do the attachments. Makes sense. So it's they're in a tough spot right now for Ragnarok. They got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can find a round here. It's certainly going to be tough, but I mean, hey, against Acer EU, it took them 6 rounds before they finally started to find some success. So it could be they could wake up a little bit late here, but again, you know, when you're in the EU finals, you don't really want to cut it as close, you know, as it's getting right now for Ragnarok. They need to start finding some rounds here on defense, because you can't just bet, oh, once we get to 6, we're gonna win 6, you know, points in a row. That's not the easiest thing to do. But in any case, here we go. Starting off round 3, Mark picking up a bit of damage from an early frag tossed by IV, and I'm hearing a drone as well. Looks like they might set up for Site A as Itriz opens up the foyer window. TJ Clark looking for that drone. IV on the move as Blam Blam fam almost goes down.
Nice setup, like you said. A site definitely where it's at. They're going to have to swing in from garage, but they've got good coverage on the flanks and rotations, so the best option is for them to stick into site. That does mean that IV can kind of focus this team here into site, and ultimately when it does come time to breach, find the angles they're looking for to pick up some kills. The Scottish Ripper does ID1, peeking out through the window right as Itriz drop down from their rappel. IV peeks, and very fortunate that Scottish wasn't there maybe 2 seconds earlier, or they might have had their head shot. And is it A? Bob, I gotta wonder now. Maybe it's an A site bait.
Yeah, I think it's a switchback over to Site B. Karamu heading over to Laundry, and it looks like, you know what? This is like this is psychological warfare right here by IV. I think it's a Site A bait, but it's actually not. Reverse psychology as Beaver does have the EMP, and they're over by Site A, but 4 members of IV went over to garage, and we see a couple of gunfights over there, but Beaver finds a pick of their own as we're into a 2 versus 4. Itriz just dropping people over in Site B, and it's now just down to Casey, who's now in a 1 versus 4 against IV, and they're in a tough spot. And I guess it was actually a double reverse psychology, because now Beaver goes back over to Site B to plant in kitchen. We're seeing the mind games come out here from IV.
This is this team looking good is what it is. Ivy stepping it up. There's no other time to. It's the grand finals. Now is when you deploy every strategy you have in hand. Now is when you deploy everything you've been practicing that you've maybe been hiding, anything that's secret, any strategy that you didn't want to expose all season long is now the time to expose it. Now is when you use all of your cards in your hand. And to your point, I don't know. Maybe it is Ragnarok's strategy, as we do see Casey getting a couple of games in here at the old arcade instead of going up and defusing the EMP and not having a lot of success, unfortunately, on that old Ranger arcade game. But yeah, it is going to be a third round for Ivy, and at the very least they're carrying a Vezin through, Bob, but you know, it's not looking good. 2 Vezins, the hero buy on the double defense. This is what happened with Acer, right? I think that's something to keep in mind. This is literally what happened.
Conspiracy theory time. Really quick, big thank you to Volatile in chat, who gave us $20. Not enough credit is given to VRML. Big thanks for that. But all right, conspiracy theory time. I've got my tinfoil hat on. Nightfire puts this in mind. Okay, what if this is all a big psychological trick from Ragnarok? They did this to Acer EU yesterday. Like, we're going to give them 6 rounds, and then once we swap sides, we're going to come back, and then we're going to just completely trounce them in the second half, and then we're going to run away with it in map 2 in the exact same way. We're seeing IV, maybe, I mean, they're thinking in the round, you know, let's switch up, go to this site, then back and forth. But maybe you got to think like Ragnarok, and they're thinking about the entire series as a whole, and they're I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point.
No, I get it. I get it. It's an interesting way of approaching trying to throw your opponent off. Yeah, is it? I think it's as far-fetched as thinking that Acer avoided ship all season so that they could deploy it in postseason. I think we're right. I think we're in line there in terms of. I mean, they're both possible, quite frankly. I mean, I don't know, but Scottish here with the Viper finds 2! A double kill on the opener for them. That's going to be a nice way to get things rolling for Ragnarok on defense on their eco round.
Scottish Ripper they just surprise people completely out of nowhere. They'll come in and find a pick either with the Taurus or a Viper, as we saw there. And yeah, I mean, this is the time for Ragnarok to start bringing things back. They're 3 points down to IV, frag grenade toss, and I mean, just great work with that. That's going to force Blam Blam Fam to make a rotation, and Itrus to just secure that pick. Beaver goes down to Casey, and Mark providing an excellent bit of pressure to force Beaver to make a move, and it's now just down to Wee Laddie and Itrus in a 2 versus 3, and this is a good setup here for Ragnarok because they've got the numbers advantage right now. And they're both on opposite sides of the map, and no matter what site you pick, it's going to be kind of hard to execute either a B or A push under these conditions. It's not impossible, but it will be a bit tougher for Ivy. However, the lack of anybody in site A concerns me a little bit, as Wee Laddie is getting dangerously close to just walking into site A for free.
I think Itra's maybe on the rotation as well. Wee Laddie probably giving out the comms. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. The only thing is the static emitter is there denying the plant, and that is a big denial. That takes a bit of a commitment. You have to go in onto the edge of that static emitter at the very least, and then you can shoot to the top of it, which is how you disable an emitter. And so it does take the resources. Oftentimes you'll see a double stack. You'll see another one in front of it as Mark catches a Viper kill. The Viper has netted 3 kills for Ragnarok in their eco round against IV. Bob, it's postseason, and I don't know what's going on.
This is I absolutely love the changes that they made to the Viper because it really they fixed the recoil by a considerable amount, and it's really made it a lot more viable in these Vezins versus Viper scenario. And of course, rewards the player, you know, who's got that gun skill to find a kill with the Viper, because if you're not careful, you'll still lose to the Vezin either way. But then you've got moments like Scottish Ripper, who just overpowers 2 Vezin players, and Casey springs the trap, finds Wee Laddie, puts Ragnarok on the board. They're now 2 rounds off of IV. They just need 2 more to tie it up in this first half. But best case scenario right now for IV is to still go 5-1 into that second half. So Ragnarok find a round. They're by no means out of the woods yet.
Oh, no, they're just getting their foot into the door back into this one. Just getting Cole into the train. We're still in the station on the comeback train. As, again, Ragnarok are in a much better spot now, though. You know, their economy is in good shape. They're finding some kills. I think if you recall, the first 2 rounds, they had 1 kill across the board for this whole team. So in these last 2 rounds, these last 2 rounds, you got to do the math. They've gotten, 5, 6 more kills. Do that math quick, too. 3 + 2 + 1, 6. I got it. Woo! So they've gotten 6 kills in the last 7 kills in the last 2 rounds, and they're back into it. I think they're starting to warm up, maybe, Bob. That's the real indicator. They just had a really rough pistol start, and now they're starting to get into the groove a little bit, and IV have to adjust to that accordingly, because I think maybe they were assuming, hey, we're gonna keep stomping. We're doing great right now. We're no one's dying. We're running away with these rounds, and Scottish in particular shutting that down that last round. I think that started everything for them, with a double kill with that Viper, and they may be looking for more early aggression here as they set up on the outside of the door. The old IV squad's got to be cautious of that.
And here we go, some breaching foam set on the site B wall as IV getting ready to make their move on to Jim. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Ragnarok playing with a bit of an eco boost from last round. There, we see a gunfight between, it looks like, Mark and Fuse. Here comes the drone. By the way, I think during the off season we should make some VRML math lesson videos.
I know, for sure. Go over credits and how many you need.
Yeah. Whoa! And we see a frag toss in. That's almost going to catch Scottish Ripper, but they do narrowly manage to avoid a counter frag toss by Blam Blam Fam. Just barely doesn't find Itriz or Karamu, but 1:50 on the clock. Incendiary toss, frag toss, and here comes the drop from Beaver into storage. 1:45 on the clock as Scottish Ripper picks off Itriz. Karamu finding TJ Clark. We're into a 4 versus 4 as Scottish Ripper finds Karamu. Here comes Blam Blam Fam through Waterfall, and it looks like they might get into a gunfight with Beaver, but Blam Blam walks away as the winner of that exchange, and we're now into a 2 versus 4.
A really nice bit of peekaboo from Ragnarok, sticking and moving, as they say, as you don't see Blam Blam hanging around Waterfall too long. They find that kill, quickly rotate back to site. They know they've got the 2-4 advantage, and maybe even can assume IV is going to eco now off of losing these early players, but they got the kill count. They've got EMP down as well. In sight, I don't know if they know EMP is right here against the wall. If they did, I think their setup would be a lot different. They'd be prioritizing the front of this defense, but instead they're very much still waiting for entry in and an opportunity for EMP to get picked up if IV does take it. But Bob, I think we're getting an eco here from this duo.
Yeah, it's probably smarter to play the salvage if you're IV here. Keep the cloak, keep the incendiary, and two of your teammates are going to be able to buy some Vezins. Actually, they may be able to get enough for Karamu in there as well. So yeah, definitely. I mean, this isn't the end of the world for IV. They lose this round, they're still going to be a round up, and they have the potential to make this a 4-2 game heading into the second half. That's their best case scenario. Again, for Ragnarok, their best case is to tie it 3-3 heading into the second half, which would be pretty advantageous for them. Again, like we talked about earlier, this is a very strong map for Ragnarok, and if they want to get a foothold against IV, I think they're going to need to pull out a win here. At the very least draw it, but if this map falls in favor of IV, I think they're going to have a tough time digging themselves out of that hole.
Yeah, you're right. We saw how good Ragnarok was when momentum started to go in their favor against Acer yesterday. They definitely can run away with things. They can get the ball rolling and keep it rolling. 14 unanswered points, I think, something like that, that came in. 12 unanswered points from Ragnarok yesterday against Acer. So you gotta stop this now. If you're IV, you gotta say no more rounds in a row for you. You're only getting 2, and we're gonna get back to a 4-2 half on offense. I do think at this point, Bob, especially in the postseason, this map does lend itself more offensive-sided too. I think you're seeing offense win more here on Hideout, and I think that typically has been a trend, so to speak, in regular season too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it really feels like You know, when we got to the postseason, it feels like I'm watching a
I
completely
know,
different game.
yeah, totally. That's why, that's why I love it. Man.
During the regular season, where we saw map advantages, you know, those typical side advantages play in, but now that we got into postseason, I mean, even in the Challenger Cup, we're watching, you know, offense be the favored side on Skyscraper. I mean, Formula 3 last night beat Eternity after they went 6-0 on Skyscraper offense. So, you know, I don't know what to believe anymore, Nightfire, but a flag and again, Ivy are really good at forcing rotations from Ragnarok as Itriz finds Blam Blam Fam. Mark almost caught someone with a frag. Itriz narrowly avoids that damage, and Mark is now getting cut off by that incendiary. Itriz finds another onto Casey. This could be the 4-2, the key for, and there's a swing from Mark, and yeah, IV are really gaining control over this round. Scottish Ripper finds that drone, and we're into a 2 versus 5 here on round 6.
Yeah, A-Site is on the menu for IV as they have been pushing and prodding and picking apart Ragnarok before they make their way to this push on site as a 2v5, full HP bars, health syringes. They still have utility in their pocket, Bob, with nades and immolation available to them. So there's a lot left for IV to work with here and a lot to go for Ragnarok. I think the 4-2 half, very likely something that's coming up. But, Bob, I mean, who knows what's going to happen when we swap sides. I do think we could see Ragnarok pulling off an impressive offensive half because, quite frankly, they did it against Acer.
Yeah, I definitely think we could see Ragnarok start to bring it back on offense. I mean, I think they're hiding something. I think we're waiting to see Ragnarok unleash the beast here, maybe in the second half at some point, because they put in, I mean, they beat Acer EU, and you know, a little reminder, Acer EU was undefeated, and they beat IV. Casey finds Weelatty, but right now Ragnarok are struggling a little bit as we see the EMP gets planted, and it's now just down to TJ Clark to really make this work against IV, and they can't as Itriz finds that kill. We're going to the second half with a 4-2 lead from IV. Time to see how Ragnarok is going to respond.
It's a big moment here. We swap sides. The game of Breachers works. We swap sides, reset economies, and go back to the pistol round. So the real equalizer, so to speak. And now we do 6 rounds of IV on defense and Ragnarok attacking. And so Ragnarok get to set the pace, a chance for them to get in control of the momentum. And when they do get in control of that momentum, it's a team that really runs with it. So again, IV have a big task ahead of them. I think this pistol round is actually really important, more so for IV than anything. I think if Ragnarok get this, it's going to be bad news for IV because that comeback train could go into full force off of a pistol round win because they're likely to get the second round with Vezins in hand, and then you have the third full buy round where they still technically have an economic advantage with utility coming in. So there's a lot in terms of how you can kind of stack up as a team from round to round with wins like this, and I think I know it's in Ragnarok's arsenal to do, and so we'll see if they can do it against IV today. What a series! What a start! Round 7, Bob.
To be honest, I think IV had the same idea as you. They're like, we need to close this out as quickly as possible before Ragnarok can start bringing things back. We lost 2 rounds on offense, so now we're going to have to really bring it here. And they did. I mean, Itriz invested into a heal. Karamu has one as well. And yeah, they spent on this round big time over on IV. Here we see Karamu over in Arcade. Oh no, that's one of their heals dropped already. What the heck? Why were they playing so far off of site? I thought they would keep the heal players there, but Weelatty finds TJ Clark, gets refragged by Scottish Ripper. Here's Beaver on the small stairs, and Scottish Ripper goes down. Itriz finds Mark. Oh, we're already into a 2 versus 3 here. It's down to Blam Blam Fam and Casey as IV are quickly rebuilding their momentum that they lost here. 2 minutes on the clock. Will Blam Blam Fam and Casey be able to find the clutch here? They've got their work cut out for them.
What's the play? They know Beaver is on stairs because they've killed one of their teammates there. They know one's tucked in the backside of sight. I wonder if they know they have 2 kills. Yeah, I'm sure they do because you can see it on your wrist. And Fuse still alive, and they're hearing those footsteps likely. So do you linger around too long? It seems like the play is to try and catch Itra's peeking out and maybe go for the EMP plant on this bar wall there. And Itra's does peek out. It's still there. The headshot's missed by Blam Blam, and Itra's with a vital pickup brings it into a 1v3. And Casey, worried about getting flanked, has to push out to Itriz, who wins another fight and a big clutch from IV on the pistol round. Because like we said, Bob, I think this means a lot for them now, too. They can roll with the momentum. They can pick up double Vezin on defense and go 6-2 and take this to map point. And at that stage, we got to wonder, is a map swap going to be enough for Ragnarok? Is them getting a different map going to be the thing that's going to get them the momentum flowing? Because right now, well, this next one's obviously big for them, too. If they can shut down, we could get into a bit of a back and forth, a bit of tug of war, so to speak, in this final half. And again, I think Ragnarok's a team that's able to do that against IV here this afternoon. They won their eco round. One of the 2 rounds they've won against Ivy was when they ecoed. So, who knows? The pistol set, though, maybe not their best. The Vipers is maybe where they excel better at. And so, we'll have to see if the Cyclones and Spectrals coming out here today are going to be what gets Ragnarok some kills and gets their offensive set going.
Yeah, they're having a rough map 1 here. 5-2, they're 3 rounds down. There is still the potential for them to win, but I mean they can no longer lose any rounds in this first map if they want to win. Now, they do have 1 Vezin over on IV, so it's not worst case scenario. If they can overwhelm that Vezin player, they absolutely can find a win in that exchange and maybe turn that around. But Karamu immediately opening up the round with a pick onto Scottish Ripper, and just look at the rotation back here. IV knows when to quit, when to rotate off of a push. They're very good at forcing Ragnarok to play on their terms and not play on the Ragnarok terms here, as TJ Clark and Fuse get into an exchange, and we do see Fuse having to rotate back. Mark with the breaching foam with 2 minutes 10 on the clock. We're into a 4 versus 5. Vezin player still up and still feeling very, very good on IV. There's the breaching foam toss over to Laundry, and it looks like we are going to see that 2-prong into Site B. They don't have anybody else in Site B except for Karamu and Beaver, who are towards the bomb right now. Fuse finds TJ Clark, but if they can open this wall up and use their numbers, they may be able to find a foothold into Site B, but nice. Mark finds Fuse. They're now down to a 4 versus 3. Will they be able to find the rest of these players?
Who Blam Blam gets caught out and has to rotate back out from the Vezin. Beaver finds the shots through, and down goes Blam Blam. Casey scooped up, and we're headed to map point as IV go up 6-2 against Ragnarok in our EU Grand Finals. 1 more away from taking map 1, and then 1 map away from taking the series and locking in first place for for EU and IV. It would be, well, a stellar story for them, but I'm still in my heart hoping we see some comeback from Ragnarok this afternoon, because they are, again, that underdog, and it has been fun to see them bounce back when they did against Acer. And I keep wondering, when are we going to see that against IV? Is that going to happen? Maybe it's now as we see the full buy round coming in, because they do play well under pressure, but maybe that's when they play their best, is under that pressure.
Where's the team huddle? We need to see the team huddle. That was,
yeah, right.
That's what we saw yesterday, and then they started to turn things around. Yeah, you got to keep that mental game up. Make sure everybody's staying positive. There's still a long way to go. Even if you do lose this map, you still have the opportunity to bring it back in map 2. But they need to start finding some rounds here on Ragnarok. Even if they don't win this, bring it to 7-2 or 7-4, 7-5. You want to give yourself some wiggle room in case you get a win on map 2 and it comes down to rounds. But Ragnarok have got to start finding a foothold here, and that's not the way to do it, as HitRiz immediately finds a pick onto Scottish Ripper.
I was thinking that's a real interesting pre-fire angle there from Scottish. Like, to the point, all they have is their head available to be shot, and HitRiz just reads where those bullets are coming in through the wall and then fires back at them and finds just the head exposed of Scottish Ripper, and that's a huge pick, because Scottish has been a kill leader for Ragnarok today and yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah. So Big loss for Ragnarok early, but here comes the wall open into site A. I imagine we'll see some utility toss. It doesn't quite go where they wanted to over on Ragnarok. And they do still have to worry about that static field emitter. There's the breach onto the hatch as Mark does manage to find Karamu. 2 minutes on the clock as TJ Clark does make their way into the site. They're looking to get that EMP planted, but It-Raze uses the smoke. Finds TJ Clark in all the confusion. Beaver takes out Blame Fam. Mark taking out It-Raze. They still haven't taken out that proximity alarm. There's a frag grenade toss. Beaver finds it. Wheeladdy takes out Casey. It's a 7-2 map for IV, and a good opening for this IV team, but Ragnarok, they might start to get a little bit worried after how that went.
I mean, good, clean rounds from IV at the end of the day. That defense was really well executed on the IV EU side. For them to be able to hold off like they did, to hit those, to have the audio transmitter, a new addition, Bob, to that defensive hold. I don't think I typically have seen an audio transmitter put right there on the side. You know, it does disrupt and interfere a little bit with that plant, and it gives you the cue that you're gonna peek and hit outside of obviously the EMP noise. It's audio, you know, it's information, and sometimes you'll see shots go through walls, or like we saw, shots through smoke. All of that used at the end of the day by IV, the flank coming in to finish things off. Just really well done on the defensive side. And to your point, Bob, if some of that utility from Ragnarok had connected, we could have been looking at a very different push into that site.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, on the subject of that proximity sensor, I mean, you know, they didn't shoot it over on Ragnarok, which, I mean, it's going to keep making a bunch of noise. It's going to alert IV that somebody's in that corner trying to plant the EMP. So, I mean, yeah, we saw It-Raze push up. We saw IV push up and take out anybody who tried to plant that EMP. It's a tiny little device. And, you know, it doesn't hurt anybody on the team, you know, do any kind of damage to their, you know, the players. But at the same time, it's still a very powerful defensive utility, and you can't just ignore it.
Saw a little bit of a warm-up going on there. A little bit of a warm-up going on there from the IV Ragnarok squad, or I guess warm down? I don't know. They were doing a bit of some stretch work to keep things loose on the shoulders and the scaps. It makes sense. Hey, it's good stuff. You gotta stay loose, Bob. This is a physical game. You're hucking grenades. You're holding your arms up for what can be in some cases 2.5 hours if you're gonna go multiple rounds. If you're gonna go to round 12, and so it does get a little tiring from time to time. And if you're in real life crouching too, that's only going to amplify it. So, these guys, it's interesting to see. But regardless, a shout out to the teams playing and the folks tuning in. We do appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out, and enjoying the action today. It is Season 2 EU Grand Finals. The North American Grand Finals are going to be played out live at VRML July 20th and 21st. So you can look forward to that stream a long time from now. It's like a month and a half, 2 months away from now. But that's when the NA Finals will come to fruition. You'll see that played live on stage. Cannot wait for that. And I've been waiting a long time for this one too, Bob. I mean, as soon as we had those teams decided yesterday, I knew that this series would be a good one. And I still have faith that Ragnarok's going to come in here to map 2 and really impress us, kind of surprise IV a little bit, and maybe wake up like they did against Acer. Maybe that was a postseason fluke. Maybe it was the postseason jitters for Acer. Like, who knows what's really happening in the inside, you know, in the emotions of these squads. But it's so fun to tune into and see and find out how teams perform when that pressure is on. And at this stage, IV are a map away from locking in $1,900 in cash.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They might breeze through and get that prize money, or Ragnarok will wake up here and say, "No, wait, what are we doing? we gotta lock in here. We gotta find that footing that we need to, because this is a big moment for both teams. Both teams are in the money, but again, like you pointed out earlier, whoever wins is getting more than double what second place gets. So there's a lot on the line for these teams, and I don't think either one is eager to give up just yet.
We'll see how they do as we're ready to dive into our second map of the afternoon for our Season 2 EU Grand Finals. In this best of 3, we're headed to Factory, where we could have a winner, a first-place champion decided. If IV have anything to say about it, as they'll go on the attack for round 1, and Ragnarok will go on the defense for round 1 on a map that's been around since Breachers has been a game. Factory, Bob. I mean, you want to talk about going to a comfort zone? This is it.
Real quick, can you just swap the teams around for me? But
sure.
yeah, in any case, yeah, I expected this to be here. We talked about this before the matchup that you and I both expected they were going to go for these comfort picks, these original maps.
Yep.
And yeah, Factory is definitely a map that IV are very, very comfortable on. So if they're gonna try and run away with this game, this is the map for them to pick. And this is a big moment for Ragnarok. Now, when they went on defense against Acer EU here, they brought it back all 6 points.
Oh.
So. Yeah, but UK, though, finding Mark makes me a little bit worried here for Ragnarok. But we'll see. There's still plenty of time in this game. We're just on round 1, and anything can happen.
A lot of what we saw in terms of victory from Acer, to be honest, was some standout shooters, was some players connecting with multi-kills, some big clutches at the end of the day. They'll need to execute on that again here as Scottish Ripper finds a double kill to kick things off for their team, and they go down quickly to a nice toss nade from Beaver for a 1-for-2. Technically, though, we're into a 3-3 as another kill goes in from IV, and so Ragnarok able to keep things even off of the back of a nice double from Scottish.
Yeah, S-tier frag, counter frag onto Scottish Ripper there, and yeah, again, they're so deadly with that Taurus, Scottish is, and I mean, it was at that same point, that same exact spot yesterday that they found 2 players on Acer EU and really turned the entire game around again. So now the pressure's on for the rest of Ragnarok here. They've got another Taurus player alive still. It's Blam Blam Fam. Will they be able to make that Taurus work? It can be a huge, huge advantage to have one in the pistol round. Blam Blam Fam standing out in the open, though. They're not giving themselves a whole lot of cover here. Beaver over in conference as Blam Blam rotates into the server room, and that could be very, very dangerous for IV. Wheelatty now drops down the hatch, and we've got 2 players in upper orange. Smoke is tossed, and look at how they're utilizing that. They are throwing it in a perfect way so that the smoke will go through the wall, force a rotation out from Ragnarok, but here comes Beaver through server room. Blam Blam Fam looking for that Taurus. Casey is about to get picked by Beaver here. Just 45 seconds left on the clock, and KC picking up some damage. They go down to Beaver, and we're now in a 2 versus 2. Blam Blam, however, finds the kill on the Beaver. It's now just down to It But UK with half a minute left on the clock. Can they find the kill on the Blam Blam or TJ Clark? Just 25 seconds left. They find TJ Clark. Can they find Blam Blam Fam? They're pushing in with that cycle. 20 seconds left on the clock, and they're forced to rotate, but they're going to go for that EMP plant.
Wow.
There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and just in the nick of time, but UK able to get that EMP planted, and it's just down to Blam Blam Fam. They pick up a cyclone of their own that they're going to use against But UK. Make sure that's loaded. You got to have every bullet in that gun if you want to make it really work, and they're going to go and swing Princess, and they find But UK with just 22 health left. Blam Blam Fam clutches it up for Ragnarok.
And the first time Ragnarok is in the lead today as they go up 1-0 off of a pistol round that they have not been doing well on. If we're to at least look at a Hideout as an example, they did not have good pistol sets there, and now here, finally, they connect with one. And that's what I was saying. It's the double kills. It's the Taurus. It's coming alive for Ragnarok. That's what they need to get the momentum going. Those 1-2 punches, those quick kills where you're suddenly denying momentum from IV, because that does impact them mentally. It's the mind games, Bob. They're thick, and they're going on at full capacity this afternoon as Ragnarok are, again, right back into this one off of a huge round win to open up their second map. They needed this so bad, and now it's time for them to really lean into this, get more and more points on the board, utilize their Vezin advantage to the point only getting 1 Vezin, though, so not going too hard into the buy, keeping it a little bit reserved, because, again, IV's been playing pretty good today, so it makes sense, but the challenge is ahead of them for round 2 buy. It is everything And this map 2 is the decider. If IV win, they win first place. If Ragnarok win, we move on to a map 3 series decider, which I'd be more than happy with, Bob.
Oh, absolutely. And Ragnarok clearly don't seem keen to give up. I mean, Casey and Mark still goofing around at the beginning of the map, so that mental is still not gone. Even though they lost on probably their preferred map, they're still, finding some success here. They're still staying positive, and we do see a frag toss out. That's not going to find anybody, and this is a big super eco round from IV. They've purchased 4 Jespers, 1 Cyclone. They are playing very, very cheap here because they know that Ragnarok are really going to put up, a good defense here. And so the key here for Ragnarok, don't lose anybody if you can, because you don't want their eco to be destroyed once IV move into round 3. Mark goes down, and they're going to have some serious business to buy into next round for IV. So they're going to have to be careful here on Ragnarok.
You got Scottish Ripper Taurus on the Overwatch, Blam Blam Taurus on the flank watch, and Casey pretty close to this wall. As soon as that opens up, they could be vulnerable, so they'll drop back. And as that door blocker gets knocked on, the Vezin gets transferred to TJ, who gets their chance at holding that longer angle from the backside of B side. And Casey's going to get a little aggressive over towards A, backs Laddie off.
Beaver making their way through Orange Hallway to give a little bit of support to Laddie, and Casey with an A-tier frag there. Almost found Laddie, but good movement from Laddie to be able to avoid that. Scottish Ripper with the Taurus finds another headshot as Laddie looks to potentially push back and get revenge for Beaver. Scottish Ripper, oh my goodness! They are just a demon with that Taurus, but Laddie brings it through on the flank. Scottish Ripper, oh my goodness. In that round, TJ Clark closing it out on UK, but they did lose quite a few players there on Ragnarok. It's going to hurt their eco a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad for them.
No, I think that was just their single. They only bought 1 Vezin, thankfully, so they had 2 alive, so they could get that Vezin through. So I don't think they were hurt too hard by that. But it's money into IV's pockets at the end of the day, too. We talk about every dollar mattering yesterday. It does matter. When you get kills, you get, I think, 200 in cash, and so that money really helps a lot in terms of pushing you over the edge to buy the rifles you want, the meta rifles that you want, the Vezins versus the Viper or Cadillo or the Oral that we do see sometimes come out in the force buys. But regardless, that's still valuable for Ivy to the point, and you can see that they're using every dollar they've earned in this round, Bob. They're down to 50 cash almost across the board, with Antbud with the most at 75. So in comparison, Ragnarok have a little more of a cushion going into this third round, and it's everything getting thrown out here by Ivy.
Yep. They are going to bring in every little piece of utility and every Vezin that they can get their hands on here, and they're going to look to try and usurp the lead from Ragnarok. This is a big chance to do that, and I definitely think that they have the potential to get a win here against Ragnarok. Beaver finding Mark again early into this round. But UK opens up the kitchen hatch. Blame Fam is upstairs, so we'll have to keep an eye on them and make sure, and see if they can find a pick. Laddie's still up on the roof. But UK keeping an eye on that hatch as Scottish Ripper playing center inside B, rotating back towards the recycling bins. They're going to go and try and play on that bomb to see if they can find a pick of their own.
Interesting way to get over to those onto this bench. I didn't know that's how you did it, as you vault over that ledge to get onto the bench, so you can then go to the backside of the site. Very creative way to get there. And Ragnarok, Scottish Ripper, continuing to be a standout shooter for this Ragnarok team in this postseason. 6-1 right now, Bob, and map 2. They are definitely stepping up, and this is what they need as they do step out into some nades. Beaver finds one. Multiple tosses coming in. Casey with a beautiful bounce that catches only a touch of damage onto Karuma. Quickly cleaned up by the rest of the defense, but we're into a 2v4 just like that. Itriz and the rest of this IV squad ready to push into sight.
Yeah, they lost Karamu, but otherwise things are looking pretty good here for IV. They've collapsed the Ragnarok defense. That EMP still not planted yet, though. They're going to have to worry about TJ Clark, but Itriz with some superior positioning here. Once TJ Clark even moves out an inch, we're going to see a headshot from Itriz. There's a 90% chance that TJ Clark is going to die in this exchange. Itriz, oh my goodness, Beaver finds it instead, and Itriz there catches KC and IV. They put their first point on the board. Could they potentially turn this game around and take it all here?
I mean, with that in their pocket, Ragnarok not anticipating the loss there by any means. They still had money that they were holding on to, but now they're forced into a buy. They don't need to buy, but it is going to be a partial. It's going to be a partial buy round. They're going to pick up 3 Vipers, which is enough that if they lose again, I think they'll be able to get enough. I think they'll be able to get Vezins, and if they win, they'll get Vezins. So, actually, will they? I don't think so. You get 1,500 for you get 2,000 for a win. So yeah, and they would get 2,000 on their second loss bonus. So yeah, it's an interesting way of managing the economy. They can go into this partial buy here with very little overall immediate risk to their economy. It does mean that later they'll be maybe impacted in round 6 of this half, but still, it's an interesting way of managing all the math, Bob. And like you said, we need to do a math video at the end of this post.
We should, yeah. We should do like eco math lessons, round win math lessons with the VRML. I think that would be. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see in the chat. Would you like us to make some math lesson videos for the channel? No. In any case, this is not good for Ragnarok. They've lost their first round here, and it's all going to be about how quickly they can bounce back. Scottish Ripper goes down to an S-tier frag from Karamu. Absolutely brutal as Karamu picks up their second kill, this time on the mark, and we're down to just 1 Viper. We started with 3, we're down to 1. Blam Blam Fam still using that Taurus, but IV are quite fast with this push, and they're getting ready to storm the sites from Ragnarok.
Wow. A huge opener, really great utility, and that's what separates teams at the high level is that good, effective utility use. And rely on shooting to some degree, as we have seen Ragnarok with their Taurus abilities, but IV are still deploying that utility to a great effectiveness, and I think that's what's really separating them right now from this Ragnarok team as they come barreling in, and Beaver picks up a double. It's up to Blam Blam and the Taurus in their hand to clutch this thing up in a 1v4 against 4 Vezins. I don't know. I don't think a Taurus is that strong, Bob.
Never say never. We could see Blam Blam Fam pull off the craziest Taurus ace. They do find 2, but Karamu there just on fire. This round finds the pick, makes us a 2-2 game. Indeed, as IV are starting to turn things around, and if Ragnarok are unable to find a successful round here with these Vezins that they have, we could be seeing an early win here from IV. They've got to get this game back in control. And I think, I mean, we're just seeing IV play so well with the utility. I think you're exactly right there. We're seeing basically no utility here from Ragnarok, and this isn't good, right? You know, this is when teams have somebody who plays support. Yeah. They purchase that Jesper or that Spectral, which, hey, it gives them a weaker gun, but it allows them to buy attachments for their team, buy utility for their team. I mean, we're seeing IV stacking up with grenades, and they're able to use them so well. They use them, they throw them in forced rotations or block off rotations from Ragnarok players. They trapped Mark with an incendiary on Hideout. They threw a smoke on the opposite side of the wall from server room because they knew that the smoke would go through the wall and block off the line of sight that they needed. Really That's the next level mindset that you need when you are a top team like IV, and they're playing this game so well right now that Ragnarok are just struggling to catch up. Even if they have good gun skill, it's not just that when you're in this level.
A big task for Ragnarok here on this full buy. Like you said, Bob, it's do or die for at least this half. We'll see what happens when we swap sides and they go on the attack, but for at least this half, is a big, big round as Beaver does get some big damage done through the wall, and TJ with a massive wall bang kill puts Ragnarok into a 4-5 lead. That helps a lot.
Good start here for Ragnarok as they knock out an IV player. 2 minutes on the clock right now as we are seeing some rotations over to storage. It looks like they may try and open up that cubby wall. There it goes. And it's going to be that two-prong. Casey with the gunner finds the kill on Wheelatty. It's made an appearance here. There's a frag tossed into Cubby. Scottish Ripper picks up a lot of damage. It does go down to Karamu. And we're now in a 4 versus 3 as Itris getting that EMP planted in Cubby. A minute 40 on the clock. Blam Blam Fam taking out Karamu. They're not ready to give up just yet. Blam Blam Fam dropping 2 and Mark finds Itris. And now they have to defuse that EMP. But Ragnarok sticking in this game. They find their 3rd round against IV, and that is going to be very, very important for them.
That would 4-2 half, definitely something manageable when they swap sides. Not easy by any means. Factory, well, I don't know. It's very like 50-50 at this point, Bob. I feel like I just don't know how these are going to go out, quite frankly. Which means I do think we could be headed to a 3-3 half ultimately if IV can step up on this next round, because they are going to be able to full buy here, Bob. They do have enough in their pockets off of a couple of wins to be able to go in with Vezins and all of the tools they need, from utility like health syringes to grenades. It's all going to come out from IV. But in comparison, Ragnarok are much better off than they were the round before, where they just won, meaning that they have 5 Vezins and all the utility play. So there's going to be emitters, trip mines, all sorts of stuff that hasn't been around for IV basically all attacking series long so far on this half.
I think I saw an interesting note from Sherry in the chat. Shout out, they say they're playing Mark aggressively and he's losing his ones. And I think that is definitely something that we've been seeing here, where Mark is playing, off of the site. They're losing that initial pick. And we've seen that quite a few times where IV find the first pick in the round and then they just completely collapse on top of this Ragnarok defense. And this is their big chance to go 4-2 into the second half, keep IVI down as they did as IVI did to Ragnarok in map 1. They could turn this on their onto IV.
I know you regressed. You regressed, Bob.
Fell back to IVIM. Sorry,
there you go.
name there. As we see Beaver, Karamu, Itris making their way into bridge. This is going to be a big moment for Ragnarok as Scottish Ripper and Mark playing in control room. And yeah, this is kind of the formation that you want. Keep your players together in teams of 2, because you really want to have the opportunity to secure a potential refrag. Casey is very, very good on the flank, so they may time this well and find a couple of picks here onto IV. But Scottish Ripper is pushing out again, getting way too aggressive. Mark goes down to that frag. Karamu finds Scottish Ripper, and there's 2 minutes on the clock, and we're already down to a 5 versus 3, and not a good start at all for Ragnarok.
So close to Scottish having 2 as they were peeking out there. Itris leans out to scoop up 1. Blam Blam goes down on the flank. And TJ's alone. And what a round from IV to wrap up the half. TJ Clark has a massive comeback ahead of them. EMP likely to be planted by Beaver, and Assimilation might actually deter that for the moment. No, they're able to reach around it. TJ has to push, and they're going to push into a hail of bullets, an absolute wall coming at them of lead. As IV get the plant, lock in the half, make it 3-3, and we swap sides. They go on defense, Ragnarok attack, and Bob, we're dead even in map 2 here. IV need 4 more to lock in the grand finals victory and be that #1 EU team, and Ragnarok need 4 more to keep this alive. Take us to a best of 3. Take us to that 3rd map and have another chance at that first place prize pool and $1,900 in cash, as opposed to second place with $850. So again, like we said, over double the prize, over $1,000 grand, $1,000 more. We're not giving millions of dollars away yet. $1,000 more, and it's a lot to be fighting for in these rounds. And I gotta wonder if it's on the mind of either one of these teams right now. IV and Ragnarok so close.
Yeah, you gotta wonder. I mean, is Ragnarok fizzling out here? Are they, was yesterday a fluke? And I think that might be, that could reach into the back of their minds here. We did so well yesterday. Why can't we find a foothold against IV today? So again, you've got to keep the mental up. You've got to break this cycle. You've got to start finding rounds against IV, and you got to take it case by case. Casey goes down to Ant-But UK, and the Lurk immediately down for Ragnarok. They just are losing out in positioning here to IV, and they can't seem to catch a break. They're always their Lurks and their flanks are always one step behind these IV players. And I think the moment TJ Clark rounds his Blam fam finds one on the Beaver, frag toss out. What is Karamu doing? What was that play? They managed to find a kill. Mark takes out Karamu. There's a frag toss. Mark narrowly escapes that. We're into a 3 versus 3. Not the worst case scenario for either team so far, but it could go either way still.
I think they threw the nade, and then with one hand with their pistol, went to go pick up the nade they threw because they didn't like it, and then realized that after they'd thrown it, there was a player there. So they one-handed killed the player around the corner, and then the nade exploded, and they got traded 1 for 1. I don't know that the nade killed them, but yeah, that was certainly a weird swing there.
Very bizarre. But I mean, hey,
3-3.
It it found some picks here for IV. So if it works, it works.
Yep.
Blam fam gonna be using that healing syringe. There's the foam on the orange storage wall, and here we go. We're getting to what could be this is gonna be an extremely important round for either team. Whose way will it go? Ant-But UK in connector looking for Blam fam. That Taurus, however, very, very lethal. If they can find that headshot, they can easily turn this round in favor of Ragnarok, but there's less than a minute on the clock. They're going to have to get that EMP planted and look at the positioning of that static field emitter. It's not in a spot where they can easily shoot it, and they don't have a frag to use to get rid of it. So it looks like they may rotate around to site A. At least that's where Mark is heading. Scottish Ripper's going that way. 40 seconds on the clock. They've got to make a move here. Scottish Ripper still looking for a pick. Here comes Mark around into electrical. They're foaming the site A wall. There it is. There's one breach. Blam fam bringing it around through electrical. Scottish Ripper looking to make their move in and get that EMP planted. 2 Taurus players still alive, but Scottish is trying to get that EMP planted. They go down. It's now just down to Blam fam, who's got to take out Ant-But UK, and it doesn't happen. It's a 4-3 game. IV take the lead of this matchup. And now they're going to buy into those Vezins. This could potentially be a 5-3 game before Ragnarok can contest again.
Another eco round necessary here for Ragnarok, and the one you don't want to take when things are this close, when you're starting to feel the pressure of that map slipping through your fingers. You don't want to eco, and it's sometimes the hardest to do. It's why I think we sometimes see teams falter from time to time on their economy management, Bob, because it's just, I have to try. I have to have a Viper in my hand and hope that I can get some kills. That's sometimes the mindset that overcomes. I'll just go with a Jesper. We'll probably lose this round, and we'll have a better chance for the next couple of rounds. That's kind of the mindset of the eco, and it's the risk reward that you got to take at a high level. It's hard to do, but Ragnarok are going to commit into this full eco with just the default pistols in hand, and IV going double rifle buy. So in comparison, investing a little more than they have in the previous rounds, an indicator that they know just how close they are to locking in this first place and the series.
Look at this very fast play. Oh no, that is not good. All for Ragnarok. They put themselves in a pretty tough spot. Blam fam alone in storage. And yeah, this is a big super eco from Ragnarok. They realize what kind of situation that they're in right now, where they're not going to be able to buy any kind of extra util on this round. They've purchased some breaching foam, but they're in such a tough spot. And yeah, this is a big moment for them. I think they realize their situation. We have to eco this round, and then we get to contest next round with some Vezins and full buy a little bit here. But they're going to have to be so careful about the way that they play this. And Karamu is swinging on to Casey. They've got to stick together here as a team. They're feeding way too many ones to IV. They're getting too aggressive here on Ragnarok. They've got to stick together if they're going to play aggressive.
Whew. Quick 5-3 here coming in, and IV are getting that momentum. They are putting coal in their engine, and they are steaming out of the station, quite frankly. Couple points away from locking in a 7-3 victory, taking the series 7-2 map 1 and 7-3 map 2. That's what's at stake right here. The grand finals for EU is on the line. First place and second place are what these teams are contending for. If you are just tuning in, you have missed a very exciting series, and ultimately IV really stepping up to the task and playing a very solid offense and defense, quite frankly. You know, they Ragnarok is the underdog, so it's surprising and impressive when they do win rounds, but IV are really all... If they were to be... They came in prepared to go up against Acer. You know, like, they really did, and I feel like they would have been able to maybe even be this effective against Acer if Acer had somehow beat Ragnarok yesterday.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what happened there. You know, Acer EU, did they play in a, were they not playing to their full extent? We saw them play against Immortality today, and they seemed very, very, with their skill today. But oh my goodness, it was dropping 2 with a trip mine. What are they doing? They've got to drone those out. They've got to be careful and check for those. And now they're going to start this round with 2 players down against all 5 members of IV.
Hard to focus on everything when you're playing this competitively, when you're this locked in to the series, when you're feeling the pressure of everything around you as TJ gets stuck in between an immolation and a static. Slice of HP left and is trying to push out for some kills, but Karamu at the front line disrupts and dismantles the Ragnarok offense. They had a hit butt ready for a vault behind them just to put insult onto injury, and with 5 alive on round 9, Ragnarok go into a do-or-die, partial buy, not so effective round. And look at this, the praise, Bob, coming into Karamu from the team. He doesn't want it. He doesn't think he deserves it. The team has been what's gotten them victory, and he's appeasing them with grenades as they get ready for, what could be the last round of their season for EU in Season 2.
I mean, Karamu has just been absolutely leading the charge for IV, 14-5 in this game. In grand finals, EU is very, very impressive. I mean, IV, this is what we expected from them. This is what they've led us to expect all season, that they are an extremely strong team. They only lost twice. One time, I believe, was because they couldn't get enough players in. They had to forfeit. But apart from that, I mean, they only lost once to Acer EU, and they didn't let it bother them. They've just continued to play the way that they did, and yeah, I wonder, we're getting to the hypotheticals. Could they have put up this kind of performance against Acer EU, or is Ragnarok really playing the best that you can against this IV team? But in any case, it's a last desperate buy from Ragnarok. Their attempt to stay in this game. They see IV collapsing. The Ragnarok pushing him down to a 2 versus 4. Scottish Ripper finding one, desperately holding on for Ragnarok. As we do see TJ Clark bringing it up through blue hallway, looking for a potential pick. We're into a 3 versus 2. TJ Clark has possession of the EMP. 2 minutes 10 on the clock. TJ Clark potentially looking to push in and get that EMP planted. Riz sitting in the back of site, finds the kill on the Scottish Ripper. It's now just down to TJ Clark. They've got the Vezin. Can they keep their team afloat in the EU Grand Finals? This is for the money, the $1,900 US, a minute 30, and IV are your EU champions.
You love to see a stellar performance from the top team at the end of their season, and IV were in peak condition here for the EU Grand Finals. They came in ready to go up against whoever was going to come out of the Acer EU Ragnarok battle, and they delivered here in 2 maps. 7-2 map 1 on Hideout, 7-3 map 2 on Factory, and Ragnarok just were not able to get the momentum that they were able to find against Acer, against IV here today. And hats off to both teams. Hats off to Ragnarok for locking in second place in Season 2. Not too bad at the end of the day. Taking away 850 in cash. IV EU locking in first place, 1900 in USD cash. A tremendous victory there from IV. Celebrations and hugs from everyone going around from the IV and Ragnarok squad. You love to see that level of let's show it so we can see it. We love to see this level of camaraderie. This is good. This is good sportsmanship, Bob. At the end of the day, these teams were competing for a lot, and they all had a good time. It seems they're all friends. There's no hard feelings here. No people getting upset at each other over a loss or a victory, and ultimately just, again, enjoying the experience of EU VRML. A shout out to both squads. I love to see that so much. That warms my heart, and I love to see that sportsmanship, Bob. That's awesome. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
I mean, you know, and Ragnarok are still going to get $850 US.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
still in the money. They're still going to get the Helga subscription.
Yep.
So hey, they didn't get the number one prize, but I mean, they are. I feel IV are on top of the world right now. I mean, they have consistently put in the performance that they needed to in this entire season. They've just been on top of their game, super strong the whole time. And even in this final game, I mean, we saw they had what it took to be those EU Season 2 champions. They had more control over the whole game than Ragnarok, and they played the way that they utilize utility, their gun skill, their positioning. They just knew how to play against Ragnarok. They knew how to play this game. And they're going to walk away with $1,900 as a reward for it. And very, very nice performance from both teams. And wow, I mean, that it just hit me. That's the end. That's Season 2 EU right there. It's finally done. And we've got our champions settled out after 11 weeks of regular season, after 3 weeks of postseason, the Challenger Cup, the semifinals, the top 8. And we're finally here at this point. Congratulations to IVEU.
I'm seeing if maybe we can get one person to chat with from the IVEU squad. We'll see if anyone is available. But while we wait, a big shout out to our sponsors, Triangle Factory, for supporting the cash prize pool, ProTube VR for supporting the cash prize pool, Helga for supporting our first and second place champions, and of course everyone for tuning in and enjoying the EU action here this afternoon. We really do appreciate all of your support. If you are in North America, you actually can enter into a giveaway we're doing right now. This weekend exclusively for the EU and NA finals, we are giving away a ticket to VRMLCon as well as a HyperX headset. It's only available for folks that are in North America. So it's why we haven't been mentioning it all day long today for EU, because we understand and we apologize for not being able to support EU with HyperX donations and giveaways. But at the very least, if you are in North America and are watching, you can join that giveaway by going to the link that's in chat or by heading over to the VRML social media accounts. You'll see the giveaway live. All you have to do is follow HyperX on a few platforms, and you'll get a couple of entries in for what is going to be giveaways every weekend leading up until the finals of X8. So it's like 5 weekends of Veil postseason and then X8 postseason, and every weekend is a giveaway, all done through that social media giveaway platform. So please do get your entries in, and we really do appreciate the support. It helps a lot with us for the metrics and to get more people to join and sponsor VRML at the end of the day. So a big shout out to people that have been entering in and that have been tuning in. We really do appreciate your support at the end of the day. It means everything. It's why we're here. And so, again, a big shout out to you folks for tuning in and enjoying the action.
I can pull in Beaver from IV in here. All right, let me pull in Beaver. All right, Beaver, you're with us here in the caster chat. How does it feel? I gotta ask. You've won. You finally made it here after this point. You can unmute yourself now, but how does it feel to finally walk away as an EU champion?
You know, I mean, I'm so proud of my boys. It took a lot of grinding this season. I'm lost for words. I've got to say, huge shout out. Every single one of the players performed. Even Fuse, we had to get a sub in for the first map, and he did absolutely incredible. And I'm so proud. I need to give a quick shout out to Karamu. easily MVP this
Oh, yeah.
season. Easily. He was absolutely insane all season. I know you guys don't see behind the scenes, but in scrims, his mindset, his grind, he has been absolutely on top of the EU scene by far. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of the team.
Was there a
He
moment
was on
that
top
you
of the
really
KDs.
felt like you had that game under control?
I think we were very confident from the get-go. I think we knew we had a good grasp from the start of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously bringing it into the last game, I think, we started. I think we kicked off the first round on Hideout, and we just kind of knew we were all feeling it. Especially, I mean, individually and just as a team, we were feeling it. We were feeling good. So yeah.
Going into this series, were you worried about Ragnarok with them beating Acer EU? Were they the expected team for you, or were you anticipating going up against Acer today?
So we will say it was unexpected. Yeah, I think we were expecting to play Acer. We were kind of planning around that. We were planning what maps they were going to ban, how we were going to counter that. So it was definitely like a catch off guard. It caught us off guard for sure. But as it goes, I think we showed we could adapt, and I think we did incredible. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if you prepare for Acer EU, you're prepared for any team, right?
Exactly, 100%. They are an incredible team. Honestly, I love that team. I love all the boys. It's astounding like how much they managed to achieve in such a short time, and I'm excited to see what they bring next season.
So yeah, exactly. I was about to ask, what's next for Ivy? Are you going to be here in season 3? You're going to try and defend your title?
Oh, Bob. What a silly question. Of course we're going to be here, Bob. We're going to be here. We're going to be keeping this #1 spot. We know we will. We're very confident for whatever comes. I mean, like I said, I'm just so proud. I'm so proud of the team. I'm so proud of my players. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Beaver, thank you so much for that quick interview. And yeah, we might do some little off-season interviews for those teams, so stay tuned. But big thank you again, Beaver. And in any case, it's time to wrap things up, I guess, Nightfire.
Suppose it is, Bob, a heartfelt goodbye to Season 2 as we wrap it up here for EU. And a reminder that we still have one monumental series left for NA, which will start July 20th and 21st for VRML Con 2024, where you'll get to watch the top 2 North American teams play their grand finals out live on stage. You can buy tickets to the event right now by going into vrmlcon.com. And if that's slow, you can go to vrml.com/vrmlcon. Both links will get you to the landing page where you can find the link to buy tickets, as well as a great hotel deal that I really encourage you to get on now versus later, because they are going fast. And again, is only about 5 to 10 minutes away from the venue, and is maybe the most affordable price locally because of the deal we've gotten for our event. So a big shout out to the Holiday Inn for supporting the VRML as well. And again, that link is available at vrmlcon.com. You can buy your tickets and you can be there for the North American Grand Finals. You can have me sign a t-shirt. I think that was something somebody wanted in chat. I can do that for you at VRMLCon, and I look forward to meeting a lot of the community there. Bob, I look forward to meeting you at VRMLCon too. It's going to be a lot of fun, but yeah, I think that puts a bell on it for Season 2. A great way to go out. Congratulations to IV. Shout out to Beaver for the very great interview there at the end of the season. And that's all we have at the caster's desk. No North American third place match today, so that's it for Season 2 until VRMLCon July 20th and 21st. My name's Ben, Nightfire with 2 E's. My co-caster, Gibular Bob. Stay classy. VRML is brought to you by Helga, the esports manager. Triangle Factory. Thanks for watching VRML.